I bring up Bob Seger on this show a lot because we talk about Turn the Page. We did best cover song with Metallica doing Turn the Page. Seeger's is still better. But we got to turn the page. This Browns team, we got to turn the page. You have an extremely pivotal week, pivotal game coming up about what the rest of the season is going to be. And it's hard for me to not sit here and think about the big question about Deshaun Watson and where this team is going and all that kind of stuff. But you got to turn the page. We've got to turn the page straight on to the Washington Commanders. Now, part of doing that is identifying your problems. You can't solve a problem until you identify it. Right now, I think the Browns have quite a few problems that they hopefully have identified. Can you get the solutions that are needed? And one of those issues we'll talk about in Two for Tuesday. Is it Deshaun Watson? Or is it everybody else? That's a question we're going to ask today. I think it might lean heavy one way, but it's an interesting discussion to get to nonetheless. Big news on the Browns yesterday. Nick Chubb returning. We'll discuss that. Latest on David Njoku. All the rest of the injuries coming out for the Browns. And this Amari Cooper trade keeps getting floated around. We'll discuss that about Kansas City. We got the Cavs yesterday. Let's go. Media day, baby. I love it. We'll hear from Donovan Mitchell because when that report came out that he knew all the way back in January that he was coming back, people were like, wait, what? He gave a little more context to that. Cavs are off to Florida for their training camp at IMG, so we got some wine and gold to talk about. Guards, dude, it felt like it was a playoff game. It was a playoff game yesterday for the Mets and the Braves. They both make it in. You got a slate of 4 games today. I think we'll all be keeping our eye on the very first game, right, Pat? I think, is that not the first game today? At like 2 o'clock is Detroit and Houston.
Early start. I don't like how they do it, but it's an early start.
And they got baseball day today, so maybe we'll get some wagers going. Dude, talk about Atlanta. They had to fly from Atlanta to San Diego for a game tonight. Milwaukee is going to host the Mets, and, of course, Kansas City and Baltimore, the other one. Full slate of baseball. We'll get to that. The unfortunate passing of Pete Rose will be our second Two for Tuesday. We'll get to Time Up. We got the grid, morning update. We got it all on a Two for Tuesday right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Pat McGuire with us this morning. Pat, happy to see you. Appreciate you coming in. You can always follow on Twitter X at Matt Fontana Show. We're up on the YouTube channel. We'll talk about that in a second. Twitch, Instagram, everywhere. Just search Matt Fontana Show. So before we get into the Browns, we've got plenty to get to today. We've got the giveaway, okay? We're going to do some Guardians playoff swag, okay? I think I want to do YouTube. Pat, I'm throwing you a question. I don't know if the answer. Can we see subscribers to the YouTube channel?
I do believe so.
Okay, because so now here's the more important question. Can we get a hold of them? Here's my idea. Because normally when we do the grid, which we did last week, we do a giveaway. And I want to do some Guardians playoff swag for some people. Normally it's just like a retweet on Twitter type thing. I feel like we neglect our great people on YouTube. So I want to do YouTube, but I'm glad you have it up because you have control, like you're in the admin for our account. So if you go to the show and you see the subscribers, can we DM them? I don't know how we'd get a hold of them.
Yeah.
Twitter's easy. Determined. Twitter, just make sure your DM is open and we'll get your address. And that's all I need is once we pick the winner, I just need your address to ship you your stuff. That's it. The other idea I had is if we do it on Friday and flood the YouTube channel and just say comment and we pick somebody there. It all comes back to the question of can we DM somebody on YouTube? I don't know if that's a thing. So think about that this week. Ryan's out, but we'll figure that out later this week. So I would just tell you this. Just so subscribe to the YouTube channel and you'll be geared up and ready to go coming up for our giveaway later today. I want to do it on Friday. I think we'll let it run. I want to get it figured out. Friday, we'll pick our winner for some Guardians playoff swag as they get going. Dude, I got my tickets. I'm so excited. I've been staring at the T-shirts and the hoodies and dude, I'm all geared up for the Guards. So we'll get to that coming up as well. And yesterday's a great primer for the baseball playoffs. It's also really interesting. I've got ESPN, I've got Sports Illustrated, and I've got CBS Sports, all of their playoff predictions. How many of them have the Guardians advancing? Where do they go? We'll get to that coming up. But we got to start with the Browns and our first Two for Tuesday. And I'm going to throw this out right away. We'll put it on Twitter for people to vote. The question is, What is more of the concern for the Browns right now? Deshaun Watson or everything else? And that question, in essence, is probably going to lean heavily on everything else. And it's kind of a little social experiment that I want to run, Pat, with this question. Because could you ever imagine that there was a time that it wasn't Deshaun Watson? Like, I sit here, I think about the vote of this question. Right now, the bigger concern for the Cleveland Browns, is it Deshaun Watson or is it everything else? And there was a time that answer was only Deshaun Watson. Like preseason coming into this season, that question was 90-10 Deshaun Watson. And now, why I want to do this, I wonder how much it's flipped. I wonder how much it's going to come to the other side of the offensive line, the defense, the injuries, the offensive scheme. All of that stuff is bottled up in the second option there. And I think it's important for the Cleveland Browns to get the answer to that question. Is it Deshaun Watson or is it everything else? Now, the thing with Watson, he's not back to form. We've seen steps, and Sunday was a little bit better, and you've seen the steps forward. But if they need to identify the problems so they can, fix them and get to where we need to go, at least this season, you got to start by asking yourself, is this still Deshaun Watson or is this everything else? What do we need to focus on to get things turned around? And again, I think this question is going to lean heavy on everything else. It's just so, I don't know why, I find this so interesting that through 4 weeks, we've had this flip where the only thing going into this year that I was worried about was Deshaun Watson. Is he going to get back? Is he going to be able to compete? Is he going to be able to take us to wins? And that was more of, I just thought everything else was cinched up. I thought everything else that the Browns had rocking for them was good. I didn't have to worry about the defense. I didn't have to worry about the wide receivers dropping passes. Yeah, the offensive line, I think, was a question and probably was more with Callahan leaving and the injuries and all that, but we kind of dismissed, or at least I dismissed it more than maybe others. Like, oh, they'll figure it out. It'll be just fine. I was so laser focused. I had such tunnel vision on Deshaun Watson that I discredited everything else. And now, 4 weeks in, I'm flipped. And now I'm worried about everything else, where it's almost like, Watson, you're actually doing all right. You're doing fine. It's everything else that's the problem. So again, our question, what are you more concerned about with the Cleveland Browns? Is it Deshaun Watson or is it everything else? And I'm going to call my shot. I'm going to say this poll might be 70-30 everything else. The inherent problem with that, it's the harder thing to solve because it's everything else. It's not just getting Watson back. It's the offensive line, all the things that I already ran through. It's multiple fixes that you now require. That's a harder job. That's where I sit back, man. And I'm a big Kevin Stefanski fan. And I'm going to be. Because I think he's really good at his job. But it's the coaching. You know, I watched the games last night. And the Seahawks-Lions game was fantastic. A lot of fun to watch. But you watch Mike McDaniel. And you watch my man. And they lost their quarterback. Tua's out. You know, no offense to Tyler Huntley. But yes, you figured they were going to struggle. He comes out after the game, they get smoked, and what does he say? Well, you know, everything's on the table now. We got to make all these changes. Dude, that guy touching the punt that almost was the turnover that frankly should have been, like, I don't see Miami as a really well-coached team. I think the Browns are a well-coached team. What I need them to do right now is be the coaches that I think they are and fix this. It's not easy. Okay, Jack Conklin's going to walk back through that door eventually. What's his status? Where is he at? Like, you're asking backups to play to a starter's level. There's some things that coaches can't overcome. You know, Doug Peterson said it this week, and everybody got on him. He goes, we're not the ones out there making the plays and call this up and do that. Eventually, your players have got to play. But I think about the coaches so much, which is a part of everything else, on them fixing these problems. They have to. You have the players. Okay, we'll talk about Nick Chubb in a second. Dude, anything that I get from Nick Chubb this year is a bonus. I need everything else to get fixed up here. I need everything else to start to get cinched up and fixed around here. Because the other part of the whole thing, Pat, and a question I didn't want to ask today, have you given up on this season? There are people that have already thought about giving up on this season, or they feel like we're already fried. 1-3, a 14% chance of the playoffs. Thank God we haven't played a division game yet, but it's like there are people that have already, they might look at this question and they go, well, what's the point? Well, what's the point? Season's over. I can't be there. I'm not there yet. So if I am going to keep on the track of believing that this season is not over, that there's still meaningful football to play, then it comes to our question, what's the problem right now? What's the problem right now? And what do we have to do to fix it? And again, I believe a lot of people are going to vote everything else. Again, our question this morning, what is more concerning with the Browns right now? Deshaun Watson or everything else? I expect it to be a lot of everything else. I just think it's so interesting to see that flip now, where it was all on Watson and Watson's just got to play better. Watson played okay on Sunday. You still lost. I sent the tweet out yesterday. Deshaun Watson could play all right and everybody else suck. You're going to lose. Deshaun Watson could suck. Everybody else plays all right. You're still going to lose. You are still going to lose. That's how that's going to go. You got to find a way to kind of put this all together. And that's all under the guys, Pat. This season's not over for me. I'm not ready to I can't give up 4 games in. I cannot give up right now. I'm soldiering ahead. I'm pushing forward. You try to get a win against one of the hottest teams in football this Sunday. We'll deal with that coming up. Find a way to get a win, and then we'll deal from it. We'll deal with everything else from there.
Yeah, I agree. This season's not over. I think the schedule makers, the Twitter schedule makers in the preseason have really overstated the difficulty, I think, of the second half of the season. I know they got worked in the first 4 games. They looked awful.
Yeah.
But this isn't the 4-12 Texans that Deshaun Watson played on. This isn't the same team. There's too much talent on this team. They're going to come back to earth a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to run the table. I'm not going to say they're going to do anything like that. But I could see this team pushing to 8-9, 9-8, that sort of middle ground area. I think the 1-3 start is brutal.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see them going, 5 wins
Double
in the division.
digits going to be hard. Do you know the over-under in Vegas is now, Pat? 5.5.
God, I'm taking the over on that.
You got I
come
would
on.
pray to the God it's got to be the over.
So free game on that one. But, this isn't the Texans, okay? I know it's the Browns. I know the national media wants to say that. However, Watson has played better. It's 4 games in. I just don't see them. 5.5? Come on. That's the over.
That's it. And Vegas, again, they're probably playing to a lot of people that say, oh, the lowly Browns and all this other stuff to grab the under. They're not betting just for Cleveland people on that. And the schedule gets harder. That freaking hard knocks. Is that why they pushed all these division games back? It has to be. We're at that point, and I guess, listen, I was about to say something and then I stopped myself because I said, yeah, the NFL just letting the schedule dictate or the TV dictate the schedule, and then I stop and I go, why do they do Sunday Night Football? Why do they do Monday Night Football? Yes, the TV will dictate almost everything with it. I've come around on Monday Night Football, by the way, with the doubleheader. You want to know why? I got YouTube TV, so now I got the dual screens going. I'm back on board. Before I had that, I know. I cut the cable last week. I got YouTube now, so I got the 2 screens up. I'm back on board.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if you're a fantasy football guy, but Andy Holloway was talking about, he's sitting in the Outback parking lot with the iPad and the iPhone. Men will do anything. It's phenomenal, isn't it?
It is crazy. Dude, what a game last night, too. Kenneth Walker going up. Oh, man, DK not getting the end zone was brutal. That was brutal. But, yeah, now that I got the 2 screens going, I'm back on board with a doubleheader with Monday Night Football. I was not that way before, but that's where I'm at. All right, question is up. At Matt Fontana Show. Let me hit the retweet on it right now. Are you more concerned about Deshaun Watson or everything else? I'm voting everything else. That's the harder fix. You got to attack the tougher problems. Got to overcome Deshaun Watson a little bit. I think it's everything else. Pat, cast your vote. What are you more concerned about, Deshaun Watson or everything else?
I'm more concerned about Deshaun Watson just for his mental state, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because just seeing the way that he was interacting with the reporters in the postgame, where he was so quick to be like, well, you're not,
You're not in the film room, Pat. What do you mean? You're not in the film room.
And I get that to a certain extent. Like, a screenshot is not going to do you justice for a total football play. However, this guy still looks like a guy to me who's broken mentally and somewhat still physically. So I know he outplayed everything else that he previously showed this year. But I think he's still the main concern. He's going to be the whole season, no matter what. I just don't see it.
No, and that's, again, building off of what he did, just continue to see the progression. The problem is, and this was something that I battled a lot in the preseason, the winning versus getting Watson back. And I hoped that we could split the atom here and do each of those things. Win while you get Deshaun Watson back up to speed. That clearly is not happening because he's not up to speed as fast as you wanted him to be, and you're 1-3. Now, what you hope is he can now start to be a contributor to some of these wins. And people jump on the contract, which just annoys me, but eventually you might have to throw him out there to say, you're just going to have to go win us some of these games. Pause that. Sounds like a Sawzall over there. They're doing a lot of work in here. There's nothing we can do about it. I apologize. But anyway, eventually you have to put Watson out there and tell him what? Is this every time I say Watson? That'd have been weird. There you go. It's close enough. Every time that you put him back out there, eventually you're going to have to turn to him and say, you got to go win us some of these football games. You're going to have to lead a drive. Now, what did he do Sunday? He got you back in position. If Dustin Hopkins hadn't missed the extra point, like all that factors in when it comes to Deshaun Watson and getting better. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. I'm going to say 70-30. I think it's going to 70-30. People are going to say it's everything else outside of Deshaun Watson. Other Browns news yesterday, probably the biggest news is that Nick Chubb will return eventually. They're opening his practice window. Now, let me explain that to everybody. He is on the PUP list. So when you are coming off the PUP list, they will signal a day, and it'll be Wednesday. It's not yesterday. It's not today. Tomorrow will open his 21-day practice window. Today is October 1st. October is my favorite month of the year, Pat. It's the best month of the year, in my opinion. I love it.
By far.
So they open him on the 2nd, Wednesday the 2nd tomorrow. They have until the 23rd of October. At that point, he's either got to be on the active roster, he's got to be back on PUP. One of those two things have got to happen. That's it. I entered this year with only one thing with Nick Chubb. It's all a bonus. It's it. I was not going to look at him and expect him to come back to be the player that he was in the past. I was not going to look at him to come back, especially now with this offensive line, which is so just critical to any running back. I was anything. If he picked up 2 yards, that's 2 yards more than I thought he was going to get. And I know ESPN did a projection. They had like 5 touchdowns, like 600 yards, and 12 games played. Well, we're getting dicey on the 12 games played because I don't know. He ain't going to play this weekend. And at that point, you'll be close. Whether or not he comes back a week after that against the Eagles, we'll see. I'm happy he's back. I'm not trying to rain on people's parade. But, Pat, I'm just like, I got other things to worry. And, again, I'm happy he's back. I want to see him carrying the football. You've not seen what you thought out of Jerome Ford or Deontay Foreman or anything else. So it should be a little boost, maybe an emotional boost for some of the players in there. My bar is extremely low for Nick Chubb. Extremely low.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, the way that this offense is functioning currently, anything he can bring back to us would be ideal. It's interesting to me that they're all sort of the same archetype of running back, though. I know Nick Chubb's going to be coming off of that knee injury, but you don't really have a change pace pass catcher so much. I'll be interested to see how the roles change when Nick Chubb returns, but anything we can get from Nick Chubb, I think, is bonus. Like, you're right.
No, it's 100%, and that's you can't be the same anymore. And that's an uncomfortable reality that the team that Deshaun Watson came back to, that the team that Nick Chubb is going to come back to, it's not the same anymore. It's not what you thought it was going to be. And especially with Chubb coming off this knee injury, it's unfortunate. I hope I'm wrong. I truly hope that I'm wrong, that the days of him ripping off 70-yard runs and being an elite back. Again, Derrick Henry's proven me wrong because I thought Derrick Henry was washed, and he proved me wrong. I hope that there's still that avenue. I hope that there's that little glimmer there for him coming up. Other injuries for the Browns, I'm assuming you'll get David Njoku back. Keep all eyes out for Jack Conklin because that's continuing to be the big one here. The rest of the offensive line, and, rewatching that game, it's the simple little things that we are just not doing on the offensive line. Passing off stunts, communication is trash right now. They have got to find a way to shore that up. And if it's new bodies, if it's coaching, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but you ain't winning anything if you have that offensive line playing as horribly as they are right now. So we're off on the off day today. You'll get geared up for the week. Great news for the Browns on Chubb. And our question is out, talking about Deshaun Watson and everything else. Got to flip over to baseball for a second. Great games yesterday. Slate of 4 today. But arguably the greatest hitter ever play the game, passing away yesterday. Pete Rose, 83. He should be in the Hall of Fame. Now, our question, our second two for Tuesday, is not should he be. I'm going to flip this on you, Pat. Do you think baseball will put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame now that he's passed?
I don't think so. I think Rob Manfred is too petty for it. Bud Siegel.
Oh, Manfred's going to be on his way out eventually, too.
Correct. But I think there's still going to be some, kind of like when a president moves on, there's still people in the cabinet.
Sure. That's a good point. Tonight's a big night for that, Pat.
But it's funny because Rob Manfred gets a lot of the flack that Bud Selig deserved.
I dislike them both.
Yeah, they're terrible.
I shouldn't say the word hate. I sports hate them. I'm sure they're fine people. I sports hate them.
Maybe not.
They both suck.
Yeah, they're both. The way that they acted in those roles, it's different from Roger Goodell. It was personal with those guys, and they made it personal with the people they were dealing with. So I think those guys are going to not ever make it. I know there's a new era of sports writers who are the ones who would get these people into the Hall of Fame. You know, I know it would change in the after the fact. You know how they do the posthumous whatever they call that, but I just don't think they're going to do it. I think baseball is too petty for it. I think baseball is too stuck in his ways. Hopefully I'm wrong, because I think he should be immortalized in the Baseball Hall of Fame because he was just such an unbelievable player.
He's the best hitter. I mean, again, that career hit mark that will never be touched.
It won't be touched.
Again, power hitters, I get. He has more hits than anybody that ever. And I know Ichiro, when you combine overseas and all that kind of stuff, whatever. Hero's greatest hitter. And then, Johnny Hustle and dislocating Ray Fosse's shoulder in a freaking all-star game. I get it.
My dad won't let it go.
Oh, no. Nobody ever does. But, so here's the thing on Pete Rose. They have to take him off the ineligible list first. That starts with Manfred. It doesn't even get to the writers unless he is removed from the ineligible list. Now, the thing is, and it's morbid, but again, he passed away. He had a lifetime ban. His life is over. He passed away. He had a lifetime ban that is now over. Are they going to actually take him off that ineligible list and at least let it get to the writers? I want to post this as our second two for Tuesday. Not, do you think, because I think we're all unanimous in this, that he should be in. Do you think baseball is going to let him in to the Hall of Fame? You're right. It's one of those things. Do we actually need it? Not necessarily. You, me, and everybody all know he deserves to be in there, and he's not. The sad thing is he never got to experience that. He made mistakes. I'm not saying that he didn't. He copped to his mistakes. He said, which I think is the worst thing, is that he did do all he's a player. Because if when he's a manager, my argument before his autobiography, which was 2004, it's always well, just take away his managerial career then. And he still would have made it as a player. Then it comes out he's betting as a player too. Never bet against his own team. You had the guys that were using the steroids, and I think the steroids guys are probably the ones, I don't know if that hurts or helps, because if you didn't have the steroid guys, then there'd be more of a focus on Pete Rose. Now that you have all the steroid guys that they kept out, it's like you're just glomming them all together, and they're like, oh, nope, these are terrible people, and they'll never be allowed in the game again. Steroid thing is hard because, baseball turned a blind eye. They had ratings through the roof. They loved watching McGuire and Sosa do it. They turned a blind eye to it. Baseball betting, he never impacted the game. Steroids impacted the game. Pete Rose placing money on a game that was being played in another state had nothing to do with him going 3 for 4 on a given day, right? It's a battle that I know some people are going to fight hard about. It's different because he played in Cincinnati. He wasn't a Cleveland player. It's different. It's Pete Rose. So it's not something I'm going to get super angry about. I get it. I understand it. And if I ever take my son to Cooperstown, I'll walk through and I'll be like, son, Pete Rose isn't in here because of this. Barry Bonds is not in here because of this. Alex Rodriguez, not in here because of this. Do I need a bust in there for it? But then the other problem, too, you see some of these guys that get in, and you're like,
Question
what? Come on. and I don't want to name names. I'm not trying to crap on Todd Helton or anybody else. But there are guys that get in and you go, what? Like, all right, I guess. Seriously, I think we're in a dead period for the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I think so.
Because, like, you got Pujols who's coming soon. You'll get Yachty. And there are some guys that are just locks. But, like, and really the era of me watching, it's kind of a slow time. Like, I think really for the Hall of Fame, we're entering a little bit of a slow time for people to make it. I do love baseball's process, though. I love that. I think it's great. Now, football is different. You got too many guys. You got to have 5 go every year. I like baseball. Some years it's 2, other years it's 10, whatever. Some years it's none. You either deserve to make it or not. The issue are the writers. And I'm not ripping any individual writer or anything like that, but it's like they are stuck in their ways. They have access to grind. Like Albert Bell never made it because they didn't like Albert Bell. They hated Albert because he had a personality. He was hard to deal with. So the personal side of it, like you're talking about Manfred and Seelig, that's always going to factor in. On the question, do you think he's going to make it? I actually, again, not do you want him in. Do you think baseball is going to let him in? I actually think they will. And that's hard because you're like, dude, if you were so stuck in your ways, sack up and do the hard thing because everybody's calling for it now. Don't bend the knee now. I think they do it and eventually just let it, because now it just can let it go, and people will bitch at him for a month because they did it after he passed away. But I think it's something they could just put that to rest and move on.
See, my thing is, I think I go on the opposite side of it because I think it's similar to the NBA with Jonte Porter, how they banned him for life.
Right.
I know it's slightly different, but
sure.
I think the way baseball can weasel out of this with their FanDuel, with their BetMGM partners, is they can be like, well, we had people who bet on the game and they're not in our Hall of Fame. That's how they can save face with that
that's
partnership.
A good point. Yeah.
I think the partnership is way more important. So if the betting partners can be like, well, you made us look a little bit strange here, I think they're going to stay away from it. I know it's a different entity in Cooperstown, but I think just MLB can strong-arm the Hall of Fame. I
100%. And that's where, they're getting all this money in different times and all this other kind of stuff that happened. I guess I just look at it, was that really that big of a black eye to baseball? Like, the reason you would keep him out is that he did something so atrociously bad to impact baseball. What Jonte Porter was doing was that bad. He was, and again, I'm not saying that he was even his brother, right? But still, he was impacting and throwing games. Pete Rose never did that. He never once did that. That's why I don't understand why baseball's got such this issue with him. I think they'll let him in, which again is like them bending the knee, which you've gone this far. Why not hold it out? But certainly a big loss. And obviously 𝗟𝗓𝗓 passing away yesterday too is certainly a sad one as well. And then Chris Christopherson, dude, those celebrities, they all come in threes. Man, they all come in threes. Chris Christopherson, 𝗟𝗓𝗓, now Pete Rose. They all come in threes. It's sad. Sad day yesterday, certainly around the sports world. All right, baseball-wise, we'll get to our plays later today. Today is all about pitching, man, especially in those early games. I'll be interested about the Mets and the Braves, mostly about they just had emotional days yesterday, playing a doubleheader, then had to get on the road. But you start at 2:30 today with your playoff games. And certainly we'll all be watching Detroit and Houston. You want that series to go 3 games to let that kind of stretch it out a little bit. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll get to our predictions. Actually, let's do it right now. So I want to run through this. ESPN, SI, and CBS Sports. So they ran through all of them. Now they start on ESPN, which is their team capsules. These are just the things about their team. So we'll start with the Guardians. Number 2 seed, 92-69 as the AL Central champions. Their ALDS opponent will either be the Tigers or the Astros. From ESPN, 52% chance that they advance from that ALDS. I thought it had been higher. Here we are. A World Series champion odd of 9.8%. And at ESPN Bet, they are plus 1,000 to win the whole damn thing. Now, here's the interesting thing. Their predicted date of exit. This is their predicted date of them leaving the playoffs is October 21st. That would be the ALCS.
Oh, my goodness.
Because, again, think about it. This week you got the AL wild card. Next week would be the AL DS, and then you would start the ALCS, which would be on Monday the 21st. That's their prediction. All right, if they win it all, who will be their World Series MVP? From David Schoenfield. He said, obviously the choice is Jose Ramirez, but his game hasn't always translated to the postseason. Do you know, in 124 career postseason at-bats, Jose only has 2 home runs in that entire stretch. So he says, let's go with Emmanuel Clase as a potential pick here. Him coming in, maybe 5th inning, 6th inning, trying to nail games down. We'll see. If they go home early, what would be the reason? Okay, here's what they write. The starting rotation is not good enough. Cleveland's bullpen posted the best bullpen ERA in baseball by a substantial margin. Clase's been the best closer in baseball. Cade Smith, Hunter Gaddis, Tim Harridan might be the sport's stoutest bridge to get to the 9th inning. But the rotation is another matter. Shane Bieber out, Tristan McKenzie back down to the minors, and they said without him, Tanner Bibee emerged to a 3.4 ERA in 31 starts as their top starter. But still, he ain't Garrett Cole. You know, he's not Cole Raggins. He's not Tariq Skubal. That would be the reason, as we all know. The close-up player for October, Lane Thomas, potentially Josh Naylor, but they write about Lane Thomas. He was acquired at the deadline to help fortify the offense. August was brutal, but he showed out in September of the player that he can be. He's been hitting mostly behind Josh Naylor, which, again, when I start talking about what this roster is going to be and the decisions, then I talk lineup. And I'd almost rather have Lane Thomas in the 2-hole than the 5-hole. But you need somebody else. Really, the ideal lineup is this. Juan, Andres Jimenez, Jose Ramirez, Josh Naylor, then Lane Thomas is your top 5. Then you give me Fry, give me John Kenzie, give me Bo Naylor, fix it out from there. But I think that's the ideal one, and I do think that's a real X-factor close up there is Lane Thomas. And then they write, why should you root for us? Talking to other people. I haven't won it since 1948. Lou Boudreau, Larry Doby, Satchel Paige, and Bob Feller led us to a championship at 1948. That's the last time that we won it. So there you go. Now their predictions on how everything is going to play out. I got to scroll down for this one. Momentary, please. Predictions for every round. AL wildcard, Detroit, Houston. They had 27 voters on this, Pat. 22 of them picked the Houston Astros to advance over the Detroit Tigers. Royals, Baltimore. Who'd you pick in that series, Pat? This was an 18-9 vote.
I think I'd take the Orioles.
The Orioles got the 18 on that. That is where it is right there. National League. Mets, Brewers. Brewers got 23 of the 27 votes, so they should smash them.
Nobody's talking about the Brewers this year. Nobody's talking about them.
They're a sneaky good team.
Yep.
And then the Padres, Braves, clean sweep 27-0 Padres.
Wow.
And I think it has to do maybe with a little bit of Chris Sale or not.
Some injuries, yep.
Yep. All right. ALDS, Astros, Guardians. 13 votes to the frickin' Astros. 11 to us, and then they gave 3 votes to the Tigers on if they actually advance, which they won't. Make the case for Houston. The Houston Astros have participated in the ALCS for a record consecutive 7 seasons. 7 straight years the Astros have been in the ALCS. Screw them, and this is the one that it breaks. But anyway. Yordan Alvarez, Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, and Kyle Tucker. Those are the 4 guys you look at. Altuve is still there. Here's their case for Cleveland. Cleveland is a team that makes the most of less. The Guardians are scoring in the middle of the pack, but they consistently outscore their opponents because they stop runs, playing good defense, and pitching really well. Cleveland gives people the same answer year in and out. Like an old grandfather clock stuck in midnight, Jose Ramirez just keeps chiming. All he does is create questions for the opponent like, how the hell do we stop him? Is it? All right, the other one, Royals, Orioles versus the Yankees, 24 of the 27 votes to the Yankees, okay? NLDS, if the Brewers advance 27 votes, Phillies, Brewers, 26 of them went to the Phillies. Padres, Dodgers, 22-5 for the Padres.
That shocks me.
They're selling the Dodgers hard.
I don't know. There's just so much talent on that Dodgers, but they've never really like truly kicked it into gear, it feels like. But that feels like a strong number.
ALCS, ESPN, 13 votes for the Yankees, 7 for the Astros, 5 for the Guardians, 2 for the Orioles. NL, Phillies, 15, Padres, 9, Dodgers, 3. World Series. Who do you think got the most votes for the World Series champion? 13 of the 27 went with this team.
I think based on what you're telling me, I think the Padres.
No.
Wow.
Phillies.
All right.
Padres were second at 7. Yankees 3. Orioles 2. Dodgers 1. Astros 1. Not a vote for the Guardians.
Man.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I can't say I'm shocked.
No, I get it. I understand. I get it. All right, let's quick run through the SI side of things. We start wild card. Tom Verducci says Orioles over the Royals, Astros over the Tigers, Yankees over the Orioles, Astros over the Guardians, Astros over the Yankees to go to the World Series. Stephanie Epstein, Royals over the Orioles, Astros over the Tigers, Yankees over the Royals, Astros over the Guardians, Astros over the Yankees. Emma Baccarini. Royals, Tigers advance. Yankees over the Royals. Guardians over the Tigers. Guardians over the Yankees. I love you, Emma. Thank you. Let's go. Nick Selby. Royals, Astros advance. Yankees over the Royals. Astros over the Guardians. Astros over the Yankees.
For a second, I thought you said Bill Selby.
No,
Guards legend.
We need that. We need that.
Meisel's podcast.
That Meisel and TJ. Shout out to those guys. Selby is Godcast, so there it is. So that's the AL side on SI, and then we'll flip over to CBS Sports. I just want to see where it is. Okay. RJ Anderson. World Series pick is the Astros over the Dodgers. Huh. He's got... Oh, no. That's RJ. Oh, no. I'm sorry. The graphic didn't populate. Okay. So, obviously, he has the Astros beating us, has the Yankees beating them. Or, I'm sorry, them beating the Yankees. Mike Axia. We beat the Astros. Yankees beat the Orioles. Yankees go to the World Series, though. Kate Feldman. Can't see your bracket. There it is. Kate Feldman has us losing to the Astros. Dan Perry, us losing to the Astros. Steven Pianovich, us losing to the Astros. Matt Snyder, us beating Detroit. And then losing to the Yankees in the ALCS. All right, there you go. All right, we're going to hold off on our predictions for the Guardians just because we got everything else going on. And we'll get to our games for today, maybe this series as well, to get our wagers on that, talking about a little bit of baseball later on. Got to flip over to some basketball, though. Media day yesterday. Great to hear from the Cavs. Like, I'm just so jacked for this Cavs season, man. I'm really excited, as we all are, to get going. I know the East is a lot more competitive, but the big story yesterday was Donovan Mitchell. And the report coming out, I saw it last week, that he said he knew he was coming back all the way back in January. He said on that on the Paris trip, he felt like he knew. And I think all of us were sitting there like, man, like really, like whatever. He signed, but we wanted to hear from Donovan. This is courtesy of the Cavs yesterday. This is him talking about staying in Cleveland, being in Cleveland, wanting to be here. And it's so many messages that I think stand with like Jose Ramirez. And it's just stuff that I'm a fan, man. I'm going to grab onto this stuff. I already love Donovan Mitchell, but I think this is great stuff. I'm really excited to hear from him. And it's more about what the culture he's setting, all this stuff, I think is huge from Donovan Mitchell. So here he is yesterday talking a little bit about why he's still here, what he's believing in. Here's Donovan Mitchell yesterday, courtesy of the Cavs. Oh, you're fine. Sorry, I knew you were working on it. Pat's perfectionist like Ryan, so it's all good. That looks fine. That's good. All right, here we go. Here he comes. Donovan Mitchell yesterday talking about his situation with the Cavs.
Sign. I know where home is. I'm happy here. There's a level of happiness. I'm in the community. I'm, doing all these different things. I'm watching. I'll be at the Guardians games next week, and then just different things, as an aspect outside of just basketball. You can kind of lay your roots somewhere that you actually want to be, and I think that's special.
I think a lot of that can sometimes just be players speak or coaches speak. If I had to boil it down, and I've said this about Donovan Mitchell, you want to be the alpha guy in a team, Pat, there's only 30 teams that you can do that. And then when you want to boil it down, do you want to be an alpha on a bad team like Damian Lillard? Probably not. So now you're down to what? 12? Maybe 14 teams? 16 make the playoffs. But again, to be on a team that is good and to be the guy, there's only a few of these spots. Donovan's got one. He was fighting for a slot, and now he's got one. He's the alpha max player on what should be a playoff team. Those spots don't come up all that often. And at least for this point of his career, I'm not saying that he'll finish his career in Cleveland. I'd like that to be the case, but you never know. And eventually he might move on and find another team to play with to go try to win a ring and all that kind of stuff. We'll cross that bridge. I hope he wins a ring here. I really do. But for the right now, this is a great spot for him. This is an absolutely great spot. And I think I have questions around Kenny Atkinson like everybody else. You got to question why they didn't trade Darius Garland, if that's actually going to be the best thing for this team moving forward. But Pat, he's got a slot. He's got a spot. He is the number one guy, max paid, on what should be a top 4 seeded team in the East. Get to the playoffs, and you'll figure everything else out from there. Now, this season's going to be long, as they all are. And the questions will always just be circling now about Darius Garland. We'll talk about Jared Allen in a second. He's still got bone floating around in his rib. Did he take a shot at J.B. Bickerstaff yesterday? I think he did. Because they asked Jared Allen about the rib, and he goes, if I was cleared to play, I would have played. And then that's it's in the past. You don't want to worry about it. But what I was going to say about Jared Allen was he ain't going anywhere now. Evan Mobley's not going anywhere, and Donovan Mitchell's not going anywhere. It continues to come back to Darius Garland. And I'm sorry. It's like the angel and the devil on your shoulder. And I'm going to have to keep blocking out the trade Garland, because I was so conditioned for it. When they hit a tough stretch, which I'm sure they're going to, got to remember, man, just stay. I got to trust this team. I don't have a choice. You got to put all your eggs in that basket of believing Kobe Altman knew what he was doing by not trading away Garland. Again, the return is not what you thought it was going to be. You hope that maybe Garland goes out there and balls out because that's the only way to get that value back up. But if you signal to the rest of the league, hey, we know this isn't working here, all that does is tell everybody else, we'll take the best you got. There's no reason for a team to come bail you out if you know it's not working here. There is so much on that plate. And I think it's a lot on Kenny Atkinson. I'm going to put a lot on Donovan Mitchell. I will. I'm happy he's here. He's an elite player. It's one of those things. To make that comparison to Deshaun Watson, I'm going to put it on him to help that work. That's maybe changing his game, which is hard because you don't want to change your elite player's game. But if you're going to get this Darius Garland thing to work, it's going to have to maybe be a little bit on Donovan Mitchell. You got the JA sound? All right, here's Jared Allen talking about his rib, which was always a big thing about the playoffs and what happened. Here's Jared Allen yesterday talking about his injury, audio, video, courtesy of the Cavs.
It's like I said, especially with rib injuries and what I've been through, you never understand how bad it is until it actually happens to you. Like I said, I looked at other people and I truly didn't believe it was as bad when it happened to them. And I finally was on the receiving end of that. But
can you pause right there? Pause right there.
Sure of myself and feel like I'm very.
That I think was the shot at JB, because what in essence Jared Allen was saying is you have no idea. You have no idea until it actually happens to you. That was the one where I said, I think that was a little veiled shot. And listen, I like JB Bickerstaff. I thought he was a good coach. if they need to use him as some sort of rallying, as if it's like, hey, man, you want to just pile it all on him because he ain't here anymore, do it. And that kind of maybe helps Kenny Atkinson because it's already a step in the right direction when he shows up and you go, well, at least you're not JB. Let's finish it out there. I do want to hear the rest there from Jared Allen. So, again, that's what I was like, I thought that was a little shot at JB. Where he goes, you don't know until it actually happens to you. I was in the same place you were. Then it happened to me, and I changed my tune. Here's the rest of Jared Allen from yesterday talking about his injury.
Courtesy of Mac Perry here. Thank
you very much.
Yeah, appreciate you, Mac.
Very understanding of if I was able to play, I would play. You know, I played every single game that season that I could, barring injury. And if I could have, I would have. I did, yeah. I mean, it's on the media. It's understandable. You know, it's like I said, you don't understand until you go through it. No, it takes a lot more to get under my skin.
You can pause it there. I mean, yeah, that's what we was talking about that. Then he also said later that there's still a piece of the bone. So if there's a piece of bone floating around, it means he suffered a fracture. You know, it's not just, that just doesn't happen. But yeah, I just thought that was a little veiled shot there at JB Bickerstaff. But hey, man, whatever it is, whatever they can do to rally together, get this team going, man, it's exciting. So again, they're in Vegas. They're in Florida for the week. Thank God we got out of Vegas. How many people? How much? I feel so bad. My buddy Pat got home at 11:40. Not you, other Pat. 11:45 last night from Vegas. I knew there were a lot of Browns fans out there to come focus on back from that. That was a tough one. But anyway,
that's a quiet flight home.
That's a quiet flight home. It's a hungover flight home, and hopefully your pockets aren't empty from Vegas and all that. But
knees up against the thing on the tray table.
Yeah, you're about done.
Not fun.
But going out to Florida. So the Cavs are in Florida for the week doing their training camp, and then they'll come back, and it'll be preseason before you know it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, let's get to it. We got to go around the league. We got our wagers from this weekend. Let's see where we got. Pat, let's go around the league. Sorry.
Yeah, man, we got...
There's a transition.
There's a little transition around the league. We got to...
where is it? I'm looking at it.
Let me see here.
Is there anything else?
Friday report card?
No.
Let me see here.
Morning update? No. Time hop? No.
We're doing it live.
We'll do it live. Can you scroll down on that?
That's all we got.
That's it? That's the Friday report card, not the main shot. He's got it.
Let me see here. Oh, around the league. Here we go.
Right.
Here's something.
There it is. Yeah, I knew we found it.
How about that?
Let's go. Let's go. All right, here we go. Round the league. Let's try. I didn't even have the scores out. What am I doing here? Here we go. All right, we start round the league. We go back. Saints and the Falcons. Are the Saints a little exposed right now? Pat, are the Saints who you thought they were in that game? Now, again, for the Falcons, I didn't pick them to win that division, but I was wondering, are they just going to kind of hang around? The Saints still put up 24 points, but Derek Carr didn't throw a touchdown in that game. You had 2 runs from Taysom Hill. Saints were everybody's darling, and now they're 2-2. Saints cooked, yes or no?
I think they cooked. I mean, Dennis Allen is just such a such a fraud.
He's so bad.
So on the Hanford Dixon show, right? We have a Survivor League. We took the we take a team every week. I've got them beating the Chiefs on Monday Night Football.
Wow, that's a big play for you early in the season there.
Big play from me. I mean, it's a Survivor pool. I'm not messing around with that type of stuff, but I think they're kind of frauds. I think they're going to still win this game this week. I was surprised that they were in it with the Falcons. I thought they would have gotten stomped. I think that game was in Atlanta, right? But,
yeah.
I thought Atlanta would have really ran away with it, but I don't know. They're better than I certainly thought. I thought they would have started 0-4 for sure.
Really? Wow.
I thought for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty.
I don't know.
Here's the thing on our plays. I got had by the hook. It was 2.5. Yeah. They only won by 2, so I take the L there. Young Ryan gets the win on New Orleans. How does Joe Flacco keep freaking doing this? Colts beat the Steelers 27-24. Anthony Richardson goes out. Fields threw for 312 in that game. Yeah. But somehow Flacco, he did. He looks better. I think Pittsburgh, it worked out on the calf injury there with Russ Wilson, because I think they actually are starting to find something there with Justin Fields. But Flacco does it again. 2 touchdowns, another one for Jonathan Taylor, who is just still so very good at running the football. And an improbable win for the Colts on that one. Steelers' first loss, I think there's still a lot of reasons to be optimistic about that. The benching of Anthony Richardson, which gets brought up, I think is just one of the stupidest things right now in sports. He got hurt. It's a hip pointer. He'll be back. I think that Colts win was a must win for them to get back to 2-2 and try to keep themselves alive here in the playoff picture.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, in that division that they're in, pretty much wide open for that second spot. I mean, the Jaguars are terrible, and the Texans will take that first spot. But the Colts, they don't have that many divisional games, and they always hang tough. For whatever reason, they always hang tough. So it'll be interesting to see how they can go if Anthony Richardson can take it the whole way. He played, 2 games last year. Can he make it a full season? Can he make it 3/4 of a season?
Well, I think it's interesting, too.
Key.
You don't have 4 years of an example of Anthony Richardson showing you could be the guy. He's a high draft pick. You believe in him, but you got a lot of talent. I think there's a lot of talent on that Colts team, too. And I think even, again, the Steelers fighting in that game, maybe give a little more credit to the Colts, but I'm impressed that what I've seen out of the Steelers thus far and something to watch. Jacksonville cannot buy a win right now. Houston with a get-right game, only 24-20, so I get the cover on that one. It was 6, and they slide in on under. But Jacksonville is 0-4. They're about ready to fire Doug Peterson. And again, you look at it, C.J. Stroud, beast, 345, 2 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence, though, just 169 yards. He did throw the 2 touchdowns. They're even running it now with Tank Bigsby over Travis Etienne.
Yep.
I say they can't buy a win because I truly thought that was going to be the one. I really thought they were going to get a luck box win there. They didn't. They're off into the abyss and have no prayer of winning the play or getting to the playoffs. I was a team I had winning that division. It's over, man.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I beg Trevor Lawrence to believe.
Yeah, I mean Trevor Lawrence.
You can't win throw in front of 200 yards consistently. You just can't do it.
Yeah, we know it here. But Trevor Lawrence, he needs to start being talked about like people talked about Baker a couple of years ago. He is one of the bigger busts that we have to talk about in this league because he came in as this messiah, this generational talent. People throw around the word generational all the time now. Man, has it been ugly down there in Jacksonville. It really hasn't even been anything good down there. They blew that playoff game with the big, 4 picks in the first half, whatever that was. Just an unbelievable game. If Brandon Staley didn't, just...
Oh, God, yeah.
You know what? But the Jaguars are such a disaster. It's unbelievable to see.
Vikings 4-0. Darnold leading the MVP race, possibly 3 touchdowns, 275. A great game to watch. 31-29 was your score there. The Packers were favored by 2, so an outright win for the Dog Vikings here. Jordan Love, what else could you ask for? 54 pass attempts, coming off an injury for 389, 4 touchdowns, but Pat, 3 interceptions, and that's what cost you right there. Not a great game on the ground for Josh Jacobs. Solid again for Minnesota. Aaron Jones didn't get in the end zone, but a little revenge game there for the Packers. Start buying Vikings stock?
I think so. I mean, Aaron Jones said he was going to do a Lambeau leap if he got into the end zone.
He did it after the game, yeah.
But it was cool to see he actually took out, I think, a full-page ad or whatever saying thank you to Green Bay, that type of thing. But these Vikings are for real, man. Sam Darnold, I know he's had 4-game stretches in the past, but that wasn't with Kevin O'Connell, though.
Dude, Kevin O'Connell is he not
out.
so good?
He's been showing out. I mean, they were still competitive with Josh Dobbs. And I mean, I liked the way that Josh Dobbs played, good player, that type of thing. It's different right now with Sam Darnold because Darnold can make all the throws. We talked about it yesterday on Come Get Some with Greg and Blake Williams. Greg?
Great. You can just combo it. That's fine.
There
Great.
you go.
Great. Blake and Greg.
Yeah.
But now you got
the Williams guys.
Yeah.
The Williams guys. They were talking about the throws that guy can make.
Yeah.
People don't really realize he is still such a talented
The talent's still there. The arm's still there. Oh, yeah, for sure. I think the scary thing for Green Bay, you threw it all over there. You still lost. And you got Christian Watson out now. He's got the high ankle sprain. That sounds like multiple weeks. You're going to have Jaden Reed, Dayton Wicks. You're going to need Romeo Dobbs. I think Green Bay is on a little balance right now. They're kind of in this like put up or shut up type mode right now, especially when you see what the Lions are doing. You got the Vikings out to a lead. I think a crucial stretch coming up here for the Green Bay Packers to see if they can stay alive in this too. And again, I'm not going to overlook that Christian Watson. I know they weren't throwing the football anyway, so maybe it's Jaden Reed time. But, dude, that's a big loss, I think, there for the Packers in multiple ways as well. Since he beats up on the poor Panthers, I don't even think this game was as close as it was. 10-point win since he gets the cover there on a 4.5 on the road. Better, again, from Andy Dalton, that's fine. Burrow, I'm not going to read to it. That was just the get-right game. 2 touchdowns for him. 2 rushing for Chase Brown, though, who I think is going to start getting the majority of the carries down there. Dalton, 2 and a pick. Chuba Hubbard. They need Jonathan Brooks back off that PUP list there. What a bad signing Miles Sanders was for that. And I know that offense is trash, and Thielen is out now, so they really only have Legette and Deontay Johnson. I think the Panthers' good feel story of going to Andy Dalton's going to wane pretty soon here. They'll go back to Bryce Young. No offense to our guys down in Cincy, but I don't read too much into that one. I think that was just a nice get-right game from Cincinnati. Did what they needed to do to get a win on the road.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what the Enter the Jungle guys say, but
tonight, by the way.
Yeah, that's a game that you can't really be like, oh, yes, we beat the Panthers.
It's like shooting a shotgun in a cardboard box. It looks great.
Exactly,
what
right?
did it prove to you?
Yeah, you tick off the box in the column. Yeah, you get the win. It's better than 0. But the start to the season still hasn't been that great. That one probably should have been 35-3. You know what I mean? That can't be 34-24, whatever it was.
Right, and that's, again, I think the Panthers are just bad. I think it's a good turn for the Bengals, and I don't want them to get right, but I think it's where you see after the game, was it Chase Brown or was it Zach Moss got a beer poured on them? I mean, I don't feel PA's looking into it. Yeah, that stuff, man. Find that guy, fire him.
Find that guy,
throw him
fire
out.
him. But also the funny joke that people made is that it was David Tepper throwing drinks at fans again. I mean, that is
a good one. I didn't think about
Panthers.
that.
I understand it's brutal down there.
Yeah,
but you can't bottle gate people.
No, that's
like
bullshit.
Come on.
Yeah,
that is ridiculous.
I hope then they got enough cameras. They'll find that person, revoke season tickets, do whatever you need.
See ya.
A bit of an ugly game. Bears beat the Rams 24-18 on an easy 3-point cover there. Actually, Ryan and I both took the Rams on that one. Is Stafford done? An interception, only touchdown for Kyren Williams in that one. He had a fumble that he lost as well. That Rams offense, again, what do you expect? No Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua. When they then limit Kyren Williams, 1-3 now for the Rams. Cooked? Cooked?
I think they're cooked.
I think they're cooked.
I think they're cooked. That O-line looks just as bad as ours, to be honest with you. And I know Matthew Stafford is as tough as they come in this league, but there's only so much you can do with Tutu Atwell and Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah, right.
Demarcus Robinson going on year 8 or whatever it is. But they've got deep shots. They do the pre-snap motion a lot, but you just can't replace people like Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. It's just going to be difficult for them to overcome it, and their defense is not what it was. Aaron Donald just not there anymore. It's going to be difficult for that team.
Yeah. No, that's going to be the hard thing about them kind of playing out with missing those guys. For the Bears, yeah, 1 touchdown for Caleb Williams, and they're throwing to DeAndre Swift. It's not even Cole Kmet. DJ Moore had the 1 touchdowns for Swift and Roschon Johnson. I'm not going to look at the Bears and say you should really feel all that good about that win there. But I guess, again, a win is a win. The freaking Jets. What the was that? How does Robert Saleh still have his job? And I know Aaron Rodgers don't like him, and he wants Nathaniel Hackett to have that. You're kicking field goals that way. You got beat by Bo Nix. What the hell is going on with the Jets?
Oh, dude, did you see the stat line of Bo Nix at halftime?
No.
Oh, my God. He had, I don't know if it was fully at halftime, but he had, I think it was 5 of 8 or 7 of 10, something along those lines for -9 yards.
Oh, that I did see that. You're right.
9 yards. So the funniest thing was that Courtland Sutton was the Broncos' leading receiver. At one point, he had 60 receiving yards. They had 53 passing yards. How do you even do that? Nathaniel Hackett, it's so funny because, like, Aaron Rodgers, you should be able to just take control.
That's what dude, all the smack, all the bull crap that he talks, and now Braylon Allen's their better running. Like, Breece Hall's not even getting good carries now.
Strange.
Jets
I know they're probably trying
suck.
to protect him, but they not encouraging.
Jets might
not
suck. I know the Broncos suck, but that's a nice win for them. Well done. But I think the Jets might really suck. We'll see on that. How about Baker and the Bucks? I felt so good about that pick. Do you want to know why? No A.J. Brown, no Devontae Smith, and they were missing Lane Johnson. Eagles all of a sudden battling some pretty big injuries there. 347, 2 touchdowns for Baker Mayfield, and another guy starting to emerge in the running game. Bucky Irvin getting it done now for Tampa Bay. They're a sneaky team, man. I picked them to win that division. They're doing nothing but prove me right at 3-1. Tampa, you got to watch out for. Philly, we see them in a couple of weeks. I'd like to say they're cooked. I don't think they are.
Yeah, so I think we see the Eagles in 2 weeks, and the Eagles are coming off that bye week, too.
Yeah.
So they'll get a little bit healthy. A.J. Brown should be back. Devontae Smith should be back from the concussion. But Nick Sirianni, we talk about all these paper coaches, Dennis Allen, Nick Sirianni. They think they're doing this with, motivating the guys, whatever. Dude, you had Jason Kelsey doing the tush push. You've got Saquon Barkley. You've got Jalen Hurts. There's no excuses.
You saw Barkley in that game getting
no
pissed.
excuses.
Like, he was looking like, come on,
And the thing, too, is like in another post-game press conference, Sirianni was asked, why didn't Saquon Barkley get any of those, carries early on in the game? And he basically said the Deshaun Watson thing. He's like, well, if you watch the game, the flow of the game, whatever. I'll take a little bit of that, but if you have your 2 starting receivers out, you need to get the ball to Saquon Barkley.
6 sacks.
I don't care.
6 sacks, right.
You have to get the ball to your playmakers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so tough.
Well, no, that's salient. Again, Jalen Hurts getting sacked 6 times does not help there. Tampa, big buyer of them. I think that was a big win for them. A lot of motivation for them rolling on. Next up, we see the Washington Commanders, man, and what a 42-14 demolishing. Remind me of this. Don't ever take Arizona, man. I thought this was going to be a bounce-back year for the Arizona Cardinals, and boy, am I wrong. Kyler Murray, buck 42. He had 1 carry in that game. 1. They're throwing it to Marvin Harrison, but what's the thing? Ryan, they got nobody else. And I'm not trying to crap on James Conner, and Kyler Murray. They've got no one else. They really don't.
Out. Yep.
Yeah, that's it. So not a good spot for the Commanders. Robinson's running like a man possessed. Scary Terry's still somebody to watch. Then this thing, that offense, man.
Scary.
With Jaden Daniels running it the way that he is. They had 4 rushing touchdowns in that game. But then you talk about Zacchaeus, who they're throwing it to, McLaurin, Noah Brown, Zach Ertz. They still have Luke McCaffrey. Like, they have a lot of talent on that offense there. And a defense that limited Arizona just 14 points. Pretty solid there. I'm worried about the Commanders at 3-1, and they are believing and thinking about the playoffs.
Yep.
There.
Did you see you got the game ball afterwards?
No. Cliff Kingsbury. I did see that. I did see that from Dan Quinn. You're right. I did see that.
Well, MF's in the locker room, too. That was great.
Well, they said him, and then who else was it that got a revenge win?
Oh, yeah. So... yeah, I guess. Well, Cliff Kingsbury got it, and then Dan Quinn.
No, it wasn't Dan Quinn. It was somebody else because. Oh my God, maybe it's a game that will get. No, there was a game where Christian McCaffrey. Jeez, oh man, Adam Schefter had a tweet where he's like, 2 guys on the revenge tour was Cliff Kingsbury and like somebody else. Golly,
We'll find it.
Packers, Vikings, no.
I mean, Aaron Jones, I guess, but let's see.
But I could probably go back to the Schefter tweet. He had a tweet where he said, basically, he's like, there were 2 guys, and I'm not going to be able to find it because Schefter has so many tweets. There were 2 guys that were on the revenge tour in that one. And, bilateral Achilles tendonitis probably doesn't sound good. Anytime you have to do bilateral, it's probably not good. The McManus thing. Dude. Now I'm just going to derail the show till I find it. Anthony Richardson. Okay. That's dude, I don't know what it was.
Zach Wilson was on the Broncos.
Oh, no. So this was before the game. Denver fired Nathaniel Hackett 2 weeks before Arizona fired Cliff Kingsbury. Today, both those guys will attempt to beat their former teams. That's what it was. Yep. And they're still getting paid each millions of dollars. So I figured that's what it was, but Hackett didn't get that done. Cliff Kingsbury did.
I prefer the Zach Wilson storyline.
Yeah, that's preferred. That's a good one to go. New England down players. Good news is that they play the Patriots, who are just absolutely atrocious. They get a nice 30-13 win. Not much to write home there. Biggest story is Christian McCaffrey. It sounds like, though, Pat, they expect him to be back at some point. They said he's got Achilles tendonitis in both, but eventually might come back. Jordan Mason's running just fine, though. You get Kittle back, which is good. Debo back. I think the 49ers still are kind of back on that right path. For New England, they're sticking with Jacoby Brissett. Don't know if that's quite the right idea, though.
Yeah, I mean, Jacoby Brissett, you want to talk about a quarterback who's gotten hit so much, nearly as much as Deshaun Watson. He is limping up and down the field. And it's funny, too, because like one of the stories I've got is, 2022 when he was the quarterback here for the Browns. We walk into 27 Club. My girlfriend and I, we walk into 27 Club down there in the flats. Here comes Jacoby Brissett, double ice bags on the knees Monday morning after, week 3 already? I mean, that was 2 years ago. And he's double icing the knees down in public. So it's really, he's not necessarily in the greatest of shape, and he's a tough guy for sure, but I don't like where this Patriots team is headed.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. They're just waiting for Drake May to get in there, and you figure out Sunday Night Football. Those damn Ravens are so good. 35-10. I put money on Buffalo just because I couldn't stand to watch Baltimore do what they did, but I technically took Baltimore on our picks there on Friday. What a demolishing. Josh Allen can only do so much. Derrick Henry's an absolute beast, and I'm very, very afraid of the 2-2 Baltimore Ravens again.
I'm afraid of both of those teams.
Yeah, they really are.
You know, that was one of those games where you watch and you're like, that's a different class in the AFC. That is a different class of teams. When the Chiefs played the Ravens and, Isaiah Likely's out by a toenail, you realize the type of level that these teams are playing at, and that's playoff caliber football. That was a really quality team that the Ravens have. I know the Bills didn't play that well. However, I think it's going to be a really interesting playoff race.
Oh, it is. Monday night last night, Titans beat up on the Dolphins. Dolphins got a lot of problems. Mike McDaniel, I think, should be on the hot seat. I know he's got a brand new contract. I don't really think he's all that good of a coach. They got to find a quarterback. Why they have not traded for Jimmy Garoppolo, I have no idea. They need to get a quarterback in there or try to get Tua back. They kept viewing him on the sidelines, like what's going on in that. They're in a lot of trouble. Now they're losing defenders, too. Jalen Phillips got hurt in that game. For the Titans, they go to Mason Rudolph. They say Will Levis is still their starter, but a big win there for Brian Callahan and crew.
Yeah, it was an ugly football game.
Will Levis sucks, doesn't he? Isn't he so bad?
So that's the thing, too, is like Callahan came out after week 1 as well and was like,
Rip
open your eyes or whatever he said, something along those lines. So it's kind of hard to walk that back, but if you want a quarterback to play well, Mason Rudolph might not exactly be your answer because he's got some head scratchers as well.
Oh,
He's from on the Steelers. But this Titans team, I should say, is really a lot of question marks. But until the Dolphins get Tua back, I mean, they're not functional.
No,
it's completely non-functional.
So bad. And the other thing, too, when you talk about Miami, of another team now at 1-3 that you would have slammed a playoff team. Like, that's still the frustrating thing about where the Browns are at right now, that there are some teams just really at the bottom of the barrel that you did not expect, and you're not able to take advantage of it. For Tennessee, they're able to run the football well, which is good, but, like, when Levis came off, you see that video where he looks at him and goes, I didn't even see that guy. When he threw the interception, it's like, oh, my God.
It reminded me of the I'm seeing ghosts.
Yeah, that's what everybody brought up, too. So they'll be in the search for a quarterback next offseason, pretty sure. And then the nightcap, a great game for the Detroit Lions. They are humming, buddy. 42-20. Now, that game was an offensive explosion, which was a lot of fun. Goff set an NFL record, 18 for 18. Nobody's ever done that before. 2 touchdowns for Jahmyr Gibbs, 1 for Montgomery, thrown it all over the place. But again, I thought Seattle had a great offensive game, too. Kenneth Walker had 3 touchdowns in that, coming off of his injury. I think so. A game where you could feel good about both teams. You're Detroit. You got back on track. You're good and rolling here. And for Seattle, just came up a little bit short, your defense, but that trend of like all their last like 5 games, they've scored 50 points or more in all 5. Remember that when they meet in the playoffs as well. Just offensive plenty, but a lot of game to fun. And those Lions uniforms.
Oh, yeah. Woo! Anthony Schlegel says it on the show, stack them vertical, count them sideways. So just in case you need to count up some winnings there. But yeah, that was a great game. It was funny to see Jared Goff be perfect and also get a receiving touchdown. So the greatest efficiency in terms of passing game, but also receiving a touchdown from Amon-Ra St. Brown was pretty hilarious to watch. I think the Lions are one of those teams that you can definitely root for. And it's funny to see. I think it's pretty close that the Lions are sort of America's team right now. I think everyone loves the Lions. I don't think anyone's really got a problem with them. So it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah.
We'll see if they can actually take it far in the playoffs.
Yeah. I was adding me up. 8-7-1 for me last week. 8-7-1 with 1 push on Kansas City there.
2019 Browns.
So not a solid one. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it the best that I can. All right,
call me Freddie Kitchens then.
Freddie Kitchens is the guy, man. That tie. Well, going back even to Pittsburgh, remember we tied them to try to end the streak and all that kind of. Ties suck, and we get rid of ties. And I usually hate pushes. I like the hook, but sometimes it'll sink you. All right, we come back. Pat's got the morning update. All the stories you got to know. Dive into the grid. Time up. We'll get ready for some baseball today, and we got to dive back into the Browns on our 2 for Tuesday, which is up at Matt Fontana Show, asking everybody, what are you more concerned about with the Browns right now? Deshaun Watson or everything else? We'll get to it coming up. Fontana Show right here on Big Play.
Garage beer. Beer flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool and it doesn't taste like ass. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink garage beer. It's American and so can you. Garage beer. Beer flavored beer.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Even though our strength of schedule was #1 in the NFL, I think we have the dogs up front. We have the dogs in the back as it relates to our defense. Our defense alone keeps us in these games. Not even talking about offense. Let's just say Deshaun Watson isn't there. We got dogs on the defensive side that's mirroring the potential of the Ravens from 2001 or 2000 Ravens with Jamal Lewis and the boys and Ray Lewis and those guys.
Right.
They won. Again, no disrespect to Trent Dilfer, but they won without a high-powered offense.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. 'Tis the Laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These two stride for stride. Authentic, 'tis the Law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky Derby.
All right, welcome back, Fontana Show, right here on Big Play. You guys follow us on Twitter X, at Matt Fontana Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're up on Instagram and Twitch. And don't forget about the brand new Big Play app. Download it. All the shows are there, man. All our interviews, everything that you need. Right there. iOS store, free to download. 24-hour stream. Bobby Carpenter, Big Play Cleveland. By the way, Rajay Davis on last night. Bonus time, our new tailgate show, Enter the Jungle. It's all there in the brand new Big Play app. Download it. Let's get to it. All right, plenty to come up here in hour 2. We'll get to the grid. Time up. Pat's got the stories of the morning update. You got that music, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Here we go. Morning update. Pat's got it.
Oh, yeah. We love the music.
I do love it. It just gets me in the mood for the morning update.
Yeah, well,
so
I can figure it out off the board here finally. But so the first one we start with, Matt, is obviously the game of the weekend was Georgia, Alabama. Alabama, 41-34. There was a combined 834 passing yards between Jalen Milroe and Carson Beck. Alabama jumps up to the #1 overall team in the AP poll. What are your thoughts? Landscape of college football. Was that the game of the year already?
That was a fantastic game. I mean, the problem is that we know that Georgia's still going to make it, you know, and that's like, it takes a little bit off these games. Going back to the BCS era, which I loved, where only 2 made it, you had to go perfect. You had to make it. But now everybody does. It's the chess match if they see each other again, because they can play for the SEC championship game again, right? Yeah. So, I mean, they can see each other again. You believe there's potential. So now it's just a little bit of a change. But, you know, what a game for Alabama. I did not think they were going to win that game. I was going to take Georgia. I did. And I was shocked to see that. Now, that back and forth late of just the swing and then this play and then that play and just wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
That's what you watch college football for real.
It was a lot of fun.
I mean, those plays, Georgia goes down the field and they have, I think it was a 56-second drive. Then Alabama scores 75-yard touchdown, 11 seconds. Just unbelievable stuff. And I mean, Alabama jumping up to the number 1 seed. We're going to talk about it on the Bobby Carpenter show today. A lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot more realignment as well happening.
Oh, God,
so the next thing is the Big Ten and the SEC are looking at doing a joint schedule situation where they're going to cross-promote each other throughout the seasons moving forward, which I think kind of makes sense. It strengthens what they're looking for, but ultimately there's going to be one power conference moving forward.
We'll get there. And even if they want to divide it up and still have 2, but then they just play each other a lot, that's fine. And now the Big Ten and the SEC want automatic bids. They want, and again, you get your conference in, but they were going to want 3 or 4 automatic bids. You see in college basketball, which I like, do the Big Ten SEC Challenge every year. You know, you always have that where conferences cross-promote. There's so much money on the line. The thing is, how do they divide up the TV rights? You know, what does that look like between ESPN and CBS and NBC and all the other kind of stuff? I'm sure with that much money at play and with how big those games are, they'll get it figured out. Eventually, that's what you want. No offense to Marshall. No offense to even Illinois or some of the cakewalk teams in the Big Ten. You want to see those games. And now it actually lends itself to play those games more because it's not a death sentence when you lose because everybody's going to make it. So why not cash a bunch of money, play the games that we all want to see, and take it from there? So we'll see it. I think college is in a really interesting point right now of how they're going to handle all this kind of crap. But yeah, I'm all for it. Play that SEC Big Ten challenge every year.
Yeah,
and just rotate it through of the teams that you're going to play. I think that's the way you do it.
I think that's nice because you won't have to suffer through Ohio State Northwestern so much longer.
Oh yeah, right. But again, Ohio State likes that because that's a cushy win. You get some guys in the game and have to worry about it all that.
Year, that'll be fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So another one we saw is a lot of NBA teams having their media days. Right. We got our first glimpse of LeBron and Bronny.
It's fun. Yeah.
In LeBron entering year 22. And with his son, LeBron James Jr., Bronny James. So he first media day with his son. Kind of unbelievable to see the pride of St. Vincent St. Mary. What were your thoughts seeing his son in a Lakers shirt?
Well, everybody's like, dude, get a podcast, right? Because they're up there talking to Allie LaForce and, Bronny goes, I stopped you. And he goes, you stepped out of bounds. And he goes, you fouled me. That kind of stuff is
like in the driveway.
Yeah, right. It's so fun. And for the people that were just anti-naysayer a-holes about it, like, shut up. Everybody wanted to see that. That's a dream for them. Let it happen. And I'm happy it did. I'm glad that he's there. Now, the Lakers are an interesting case study that they did jack squat nothing. They're basically running it back. See what D'Angelo Russell did when he got up to the podium and goes, surprise, surprise. He goes, didn't think I was going to be here, but here I am, right? Lakers didn't do anything. They'll be a fringe playoff team. They'll probably be in the play-in tournament again. But also interesting from Bron that he said playing the Olympics made him realize I got a little more left in the tank than I thought. So that's, again, just speak right now as the season starts and ask him how he feels in February. But I just thought that was interesting from LeBron. I think that was probably the biggest thing for Bron coming out and going, hey, man, I think I got a little more in the tank than I thought.
The way he played in the Olympics, though, was absolutely impressive. They leaned on him. He was the guy that had the ball in his hands at the end of the game, too. This isn't necessarily a morning update, but do you see that Karl Anthony Towns trade from Minnesota to New York? That one felt to me a lot like the Isaiah Thomas trade from the Celtics. Some other trades that were really gut-wrenching where they mean a lot to their community. I thought that was interesting. What was your thoughts there? Because it's an interesting fit. They get Julius Randle back for Minnesota, pair him with Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem great to me in terms of spacing.
I mean, it was interesting because there were reports over the summer the Knicks were sniffing around this. And then Karl Anthony Towns went back to Minnesota and he goes, I want a guarantee that I ain't going to be traded. And can't really do that. The thing is, they got to make all this money work still, and they're working through that. I think just the East this offseason was a giant arms race, right? They get Paul George to go to Philly. They first got Mikal Bridges, which I thought was a great trade for them, the Knicks, and now they go get Karl Anthony Towns. Everybody's still looking up at Boston. Boston didn't need to do anything because they still have the best team in basketball right now. Things get tough for the Cavs, though. Because now you're talking about if those are the top 3 teams, which I think it should probably be that way, maybe not Philly. But you expect Boston and New York to be 1-2. Then there's Milwaukee. Then there's us. Then there's Philly. Then there's Orlando, which I think is going to take another big step forward this year. You still got Miami. Like, what are the Pacers going to be? I don't know. But it's like, dude, everybody else just made a lot of these big moves. And I don't think the Cavs are necessarily, like, behind. I don't want them to feel that way because you ran it back with this squad that was a playoff team last year. You know, advanced to the second round. Not good enough. We need to get to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. But the road got that much harder, man. So I think, to your question, do I think Karl Anthony Towns is some big, massive move for the Knicks? I kind of do. Do. I think it's a big move for them. And that's not just a name thing. I think he fits there maybe better than Julius Randle a little bit.
It's a huge gamble.
It's a gamble. It's still a roll of the dice.
Yeah,
100%. But I'm a little afraid of the Knicks, man.
Yeah, because that Nova Knicks is now broken up. I believe Dante DiVincenzo's
got to go too. Right.
It's interesting to see, with all those Jalen Brunson.
Well, I mean, that's the Knicks looking at it and say we got this far, and I know Brunson got hurt in the playoffs, but you got this far. That's not good enough. We're literally going all for it right now. I respect
and I think the Karl Anthony Towns himself being a floor spacer, he can shoot the three. Jalen Brunson can go off the dribble, a lot of, pick and pop, that type of thing. But I thought it was an interesting move for the Knicks. Strange of the timing of it, so close to the start of the season, but, it could be interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Ready to grid?
You got to get this week is just practice because we do have all the other, we got our giveaway all ready for this week. So
we're talking about practice, baby.
We're talking about practice, but I like keeping the mental side of it. I know there's people that play along at home. It's like a little mental exercise to stay sharp. We do it every morning with you. Let's get to it. The Immaculate Grid. Let's go. All right. We got not this bed, the other bed. Try the other one. Is it this one? Try the other one. Not that.
Lots of options. Ryan switched them around the other.
Yeah. This one. This is the grid. Let's go. Here's the grid.
Love it.
All right. Good little practice here for you. Still got 9 minutes on it. Here we go.
Some easy ones in here.
Go. Yeah, start us off right there. 1,000 rushing yards season.
Christian McCaffrey for sure.
Wow. Wait.
He had 1,000 rushing and 1,000 receiving.
I know, but we can use him in the corner for the 49ers.
Yes, true.
So you could go back to, was it not the last teammates to each have 1,000 yards? D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart.
Okay.
So you can pick one of those two guys.
I like Jay Stu.
Let's go with that.
Let's go. Jonathan, where you at, buddy boy?
A lot of Stewarts.
Type in Jonathan.
Yeah, that's probably the way to start it. There he is. Boom. Done. All right, and you can just put Christian I just might as well put Christian McCaffrey right there while we're on it.
How about Luke McCaffrey?
Yeah, or Luke, yeah. And you might as well just do DJ Moore right there. All right. Okay. Off to a start. All right, Jags 1,000-yard rushing season, Fred Taylor.
Yep.
And then the Patriots.
That's a tough one. Corey Dillon?
I think Kevin Falk, Corey Dillon, James White, but I don't know.
Marshall Falk played for them.
I sure wasn't Kevin Falk.
Maybe. Yeah,
might have been but it's like
I think you're right.
He had to have 1,000 yards in the season. What was that?
Headphones, I think.
Oh,
I don't know. That was weird.
Wait, did Ramondre Stevenson get it last year? I don't think so. And I mean, I guess we could go back to like legacy, like pre-Tom Brady, but I can't think of any. I don't know. That might be a really hard one for us. Let's set it aside. We can ace some other ones here for you.
Let's go.
Oh, I thought you had when you were clicking on that one.
I think so. My first thought went to Randy Moss, but then I don't think that's right. Let's see here.
No, you're thinking of Jerry Rice. Randy Moss never played for the 49ers.
Yep, exactly.
Randy Moss did play for the Patriots, but he didn't play for San Francisco. That's because that's Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Yes, Jimmy Garoppolo is your answer there.
I like it.
Bears, Patriots. Did Brian Hoyer play for the Bears? Did he not?
I don't think so. Pride of St. Ignatius High School?
Yeah, for some reason, I think Hoyer did play for the Bears. It's kind of a practice one. Rip it. I'm interested to see. Brian Hoyer. I think Brian Hoyer works there.
Come on, Brian.
Yeah, that's nice. All right,
Dang,
all
how about
right,
that?
all right. All right, Jags,
He was
49.
my baseball coach a long time ago. Giants 49.
Jags 49. Is that not?
Let's see.
Why do I have like a safety on my mind?
Yeah.
Or a defensive back? Right?
Right.
It's not Jalen Ramsey.
No.
Maybe that's what I keep thinking of, and that's not correct. Leonard Fournette never went to San Francisco.
Right.
Oh,
Never played for the
deep
Bears.
cut to Sean Gibson, former Cleveland Brown.
Jags.
To Sean Gibson. Like
Jags Niners.
Yes, that one. Yep.
I think he's from Bedford.
There you go. All right.
3%. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, Jags Bears. Jags Bears. Blake Bortles, don't think so. Obviously not Kyle Orton,
Kyle Orton.
Yeah, no.
Let's see. Rex Grossman? No.
Grossman? Did Mark
closer.
Brunell ever play for the Bears?
I think he was
I know he's Green Bay.
Raiders, I think.
Raiders, I think, yeah, down there, so maybe not. All right. Position guys.
Got to think running backs, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
But again, how many good Jags running backs?
Yeah.
Who was the one guy that they had with the dreads? It was out of the back. It was James Robinson?
James Robinson.
But I don't know if he ever played in Chicago.
I don't think so. Undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Jared Cook, tight end.
Jared Cook, not Jimmy Graham.
Not Jimmy Graham, but
How about Ryan Fitzpatrick?
did he play in?
I want to say he played in Jacksonville. I'm not sure if he played for the Bears.
I really like Jared Cook all of a sudden.
All right. I like it.
You like it? Does it sound good?
Give it a go. Jared Cook. I mean, I can't think of a 1,000-yard rusher for the Patriots anyway, so.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, it wasn't Jared Cook.
How
All
about that?
right.
Played a little everywhere, it seemed like.
I played a lot of places, but I wonder. I mean, I can Google, like I said, just practice. But
here.
how did?
You want to rip Kevin Falk here?
If
Corey
you want,
Dillon,
yeah.
maybe?
Corey Dillon. Kevin
Corey
Falk.
Dillon. Let's try Corey Dillon. He definitely had one in.
Wow, Jared Cook played for neither the Bears nor the Jags.
Oh, no.
I'm such a dumbass.
Corey Dillon.
Did Corey Dillon work?
Yeah. I think his 1,000-yard year was with the Bengals, so.
See, but the grid is weird because I think it has to be with that team, though.
Yeah.
So it must be.
Really?
Yeah, go down,
Oh,
though.
yeah.
I want to see who the option would be for Jacksonville and the Bears.
Come on now.
Scroll down. Yeah, a little more.
Jacksonville Bears. Let's see here.
Yeah, dude. In
Nick
New
Foles.
England, dude, Corey Dillon in 2004 ran for 1,600 yards
Jeez.
with the Patriots.
Man.
Who's on that list there?
We got
The one we missed.
Nick
I get able to
Foles,
see it
Mike
on there.
Glennon.
Oh, Mike Glennon. Yeah, Nick. Yeah.
Nick Foles would have been a good
Yeah.
one. Let's see here. Allen Robinson.
Oh,
would've been-
yeah.
That would have been a good hit.
That'd have been a good
Mercedes
one.
Lewis.
That, you know what?
Zach
That's
Miller.
probably who I was thinking of instead of Jared Cook. You're probably right. I
Yeah.
think that's exactly who that
They
was.
look the same. Him and Jermichael Finley, they all have the
Oh, and
same,
they've been
like, body
playing
type.
forever.
Yep.
Everybody's been playing forever.
Yep.
So I get it 100%.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's good. It's all practice this
Tough.
week anyway, so it's all good. All right, let's catch our final break. Come back. We'll dive into time up. We'll get geared up for some baseball today. Check our Twitter question, talking some Browns. Stay with us. Fontana Show right here on Big Play.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage beer. Beer flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like ass. I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink garage beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage beer. Beer flavored beer.
Well, how do they know I'm doing this? Did somebody leak this out?
It's social media.
Oh.
It's just that's the way social media works now.
I thought maybe you were just running that yap.
Even though our strength of schedule is number 1 in the NFL, I think we have the dogs up front. We have the dogs in the back. as it relates to our defense. Our defense alone keeps us in these games. Not even talking about offense. Not let's just say Deshaun Watson isn't there. We got dogs on the defensive side that's mirroring the potential of the Ravens from 2001 or 2000 Ravens with Jamal Lewis and the boys and Ray Lewis and those guys.
Right.
They won. Again, no disrespect to Trent Dilfer, but they won without a high-powered offense.
I don't buy into this nonsense, this conspiracy nonsense that he's got his money and he's dogging it. That's ridiculous.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. 'Tis the laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These two stride for stride. Authentic, 'tis the law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky Derby.
All right, jump into it. A little bit of time out before you get ready for some baseball today. And we got a little, speaking of baseball, we got some nominations up for the Guardians for all MLB teams. So we'll get to that. Fans actually vote on that. So real quick, I just saw it. It just came down 10 minutes ago. Emmanuel Clase, Jose Ramirez, Josh Naylor, Andres Jimenez, and Cade Smith have all been nominated for the all MLB team. Fans can vote now through October 11th. To get those guys on the all MLB team. So get to your votes, and there's how we go. All right, let's head back on the 1st of October. Man, dude, I love it. October's the best month of the year. We're here. We got it. But 1 year ago today, Pat, it was not a good one. Browns, Ravens. We lose 28-3. Do you remember that this was the Sunday that an hour before the game we found out Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play? DTR started through 3 interceptions. And that was the game we all said, like, dude, what did you want? He was a rookie. Dude, there were some throws in that game that I was like, my boy doesn't deserve to be out there. They found out an hour before the game Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play. Remember the tailspin that sent us into? Everybody's bitching about, man, well, if Watson ain't going to play, you need to know that on Wednesday, and going back and forth if he's going to play or not. It's been contentious. Like, if I had to say one word to truly describe the Deshaun Watson time here, it's been contentious. It's been really hard. It's been really tough. And that was 1 year ago today that we found out an hour before the game your starting quarterback ain't going to play. That's a tough go. That's a really tough go of it.
Yeah, I'd imagine the line changed a little bit there.
Oh, yeah. That had a lot to do with it.
There was a lot of hurt feelings before that game, after that game, but that was one you can really pinpoint and be like, what are we doing here?
What?
The medical staff, too, like that happened a lot with Baker Mayfield.
Oh, that's right.
Like.
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
I mean, I was cleared to play. I wasn't cleared to play.
Yeah.
It seems like that happens a lot with Kevin Stefanski as well.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's not great.
No, and that's like, how he feels on a Sunday versus like preparing for not. And we're not back into it again because he's playing. Like, silver lining all is at least Watson's playing through all of this. But it's been, that back and forth, which was just crazy that it was only a year ago. Seems a lot longer. Well, this was a long time ago, but man, did it suck. Because you know what happened in 2017? I'm going to tell you about a game. He ain't going to win it. 31-7. The Bengals beat us on their first win of the season. Andy Dalton threw 4 touchdowns, including 3 of them in the second quarter alone. Tyler Croft had 2. AJ Green and Giovanni Bernard had your other touchdowns. Deshaun Kaiser, 118 yards and interception before he got benched for Kevin Hogan. Isaiah Crowell, your leading receiver was Ricardo Lewis. Kenny Britt had 3 catches for 52 yards in that game. This day, 2017. This day, 2014, the very infamous... We're on to Cincinnati from Bill Belichick. What was that after? Do you remember? It's a long time. 2014, a long time ago.
We're on to Cincinnati. I don't know. Let's see. They definitely lost, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Here it is. Bengals lost 41-14 to the Chiefs, and they played Cincinnati the next week. It was his post-game. 5 times he was asked about the loss, and he just kept saying, we're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. Was this day 2014? So there you go. This day 1995, the Indians finished with a record of 144 and at time 30 games ahead of the Royals in the AL. So could you imagine winning a division by 30 games? They did that in 1995. That's still got to be a record. How can that not be 30
That's
games?
one of the greatest teams that never gets, it gets its due. If you guys haven't seen the MLB Network Dynasty That Never Was, that documentary, unbelievable stuff. I mean, the 90s Tribe teams were phenomenal. That team really never gets the justice.
How they never won the World Series, which, again, I just need to get that off our back and win one eventually, but that team certainly torn. But again, like
what you doing this November?
Right, we're due. We're freaking due. That's good. Like, when not winning it in 16, you kind of understand how those 90 teams never won one is just, that is one of the biggest what-ifs in Cleveland for sure. NSYNC was formed this day, 1995.
Oh, good.
Big for my era. Big for my era there. Do you know they asked Ryan Gosling to be in NSYNC, and he said no?
Wow, yeah, weren't they friends as kids or something?
Well, they were on like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse thing, and then they asked him if he wanted to be in sync, and he said no. And I think it worked out well for Ryan Gosling, but
pretty good.
There could have been. This day, 1979, Chris Berman made his debut on ESPN. Back. The Swami, the fastest 2 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever when he does all the games. I miss that with him.
Man.
And I know he's kind of in like an airmanist type of, just around, but not like. Just have him do the home run derby, which I don't know why he doesn't anymore.
Right.
And have him do the fastest 2 minutes.
Yeah,
just let him run through that.
Is it Tom Jackson?
Yeah.
They were. It's cool when you could see people who were friends become closer friends on TV.
Yeah.
And that was really one of those cool things that you could see in that halftime, segment that they had.
It's so good.
They loved each other so much.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Love it.
Now, I had this yesterday because the fight actually went over midnight, but the Thrilla in Manila, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, the fight actually ended in the early hours of October 1st. Muhammad Ali got the win. The fight was stopped between the 14th and 15th round. This day, 1975. This day, 1971, Walt Disney World opened in Orlando. Been to it. Don't ever want to go back again.
Interesting.
Am I a bad parent for that?
Hot take.
I don't ever want to go back. Like, the money, the crowds. Now, the problem is there's going to be a day that my kids might come to me, and they're like, Dad! And I'm just going to be like, how can I say no?
Huh? Right.
I'd rather go to Cedar Point. I would rather go to Kings Island, I guess. But I guess there's something about Disney
Not a
World.
Disney adult, Matt?
No.
Come on.
Listen. Okay.
Story time.
It's not even... everybody should find a nerdism in their life.
For sure.
I have Batman. Other people like Star Wars. Other people like Disney. I ain't knocking it. Okay,
but kind of
there are people that I know that have Disney timeshares, Pat. They are shelling out. Now, again, I spend money on my kids and I spend money on my hobbies and all that kind of stuff, but thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars to go on the cruise and then go to Disney World, then do that. It's borderline cult. It's a borderline cult. So, yes, adult Disney's, I'm not knocking it. Yeah. Everybody should have a nerdism in their life. And if that's what you nerd out about, God bless you. Keep doing it. Yeah. Not my bag.
But then you hear about people going on Browns cruises, but that's here nor there.
That...
It's neither here nor there.
Can we unanimously agree on something? Cruises suck.
Yeah.
I've never been on one.
Correct.
But I have no part of my body do I ever want to get on a cruise. all you get off is rampant food poisoning stories.
Yep.
Everybody catches norovirus, people falling overboard,
Yep.
and doing all the things that you could do in an all-inclusive. You're telling me I got a pool and all the drinks I can want? I will just stay on the beach. Well, you get to go to these places and get to do that. Yeah. Do I have to deal with turbulent waters? Do I have to worry about rough water on the beach? No, I do not.
Nope.
You ever see those things where they're like, whoa,
I get sick thinking about it, you know?
I don't get seasick. I'm on boats my whole life. I thankfully do not get seasick.
Fair enough.
But no.
Just and the thing about cruises too is like, okay, so I'm gonna go on the pool deck and just sit at that pool, not on a beach.
Right.
I don't know. Doesn't
With a
make
bunch
sense
of
to me.
kids. And again, there's adult ones. The only one that might get me is my brothers and I, we all share, our favorite band is 311. And they do a 311 cruise where it's like 3 days and then it's just concerts all day.
That would be cool.
Maybe. But even then, they just do 311 day in Vegas. I'll just do that. I'd rather just do that. Cruises, and again, it's hard because I've never done one, so maybe I'm wrong in like ripping now. That I don't think I'm wrong on this take. I really don't think I am, but it is what it is. Big NASCAR fan at all? You know NASCAR? This day, 1967, Richard Petty won his 10th straight race. Could you imagine that? 10 straight races at different tracks, and he won them all. He's dominating. His sport's different.
People talk about their GOAT being, the most dominant, Serena Williams, that type of thing. You got to be dominant to be called the GOAT, and I think Richard Petty has
200 career wins.
Yeah, he's got that.
Tied with the. Well, I think Jimmy Johnson surpassed him with the championships, but those are never. What's that?
There's more races.
There are more races now, but it's like the fact that the next closest, like Jeff Gordon, who was my driver growing up. When he passed Dale Earnhardt Sr., that was a big one, right? Yeah. Right, Pat, we're talking about guys that are maybe getting 100 wins. They're lucky if they get 80. Jeff Gordon passed Bobby Allison, Darrell Waltrip with 93. Richard Petty's got 200.
Yeah.
They're not even getting to halfway anymore. The next closest active driver is Kyle Busch. He's got 63, and he's about cooked. He hasn't even won one this year. He's actually about to lose a streak of 20 straight years of winning at least one race every year. That streak probably going to come to an end. He's got 63. He'd have to win 137 more races.
Wasn't he fighting people in pit row, too?
Well, yeah, he's a hothead asshole, too. I shouldn't say. I actually kind of maybe like Kyle Busch a little bit now, but I used to hate him. Denny Hamlin's got 54. I do not like Denny Hamlin. But that's where we're at. Like Jimmy Johnson has 83. 83. Won all his championships with 83. And Richard Petty's got 200. Never happening again. All right. Next up, it wasn't the debut of this TV show, but Johnny Carson took over as the host of The Tonight Show this day, 1962. Do you watch a lot of those late night TVs? Do you have one that you like?
I love it, man. Like Jimmy Fallon for a long time. I mean, Kimmel's my guy now. But,
is he? Yeah.
But the Johnny Carson stuff, I'm a big stand-up comedy fan, so I've watched the highlights and stuff in the past and everything. But
I was a Letterman guy, over Leno, and then now I just don't. Yeah. I don't watch that at night now. But it's like I would.
Well, it's not even a nighttime show anymore. It's just a YouTube in the morning show.
Wait, what?
I mean, that's where people are watching it. Like, no one's really watching the TV shows.
Oh, okay.
It's like SNL.
Right. I think SNL. But like Kimmel. Fallon tried to bring SNL to that show. He's got skits and all that kind of stuff. I think Kimmel is the best. Tell me if I'm wrong. Has Colbert not just like, I feel like that's been nothing.
Completely fell off.
Yeah. I don't think it's anything with Colbert now anymore. But
and that's a shame too, because like he was really funny when he started.
Yeah.
Like 2016, I think really was he was kind of hitting his stride on it. But I think Jimmy Kimmel is the best doing it now. But
sure. I would probably agree with you. Yeah.
You ever watched his My Next Guest on Netflix? David Letterman.
I love that. When's my next season on that?
Should be a season 3 coming up soon. I
need that, and I need more comedians in cars getting coffee with Seinfeld. I love those two shows.
Yeah,
I love them, but I feel like I've not seen a new season in forever.
Yeah,
we're lacking right now. We got Penguin. You got Penguin at the Fontana household, but the TV side of things lacking a little bit. I need those back. That's what we got to get. This day, 1946, Bob Feller set an MLB record, striking out his 348th batter of the season. That record would last for 19 seasons. This day, 1932, Babe Ruth called his shot. The question is if he was actually doing it or pointing to somebody else. That jersey was at the sports card show that we were at, just went up for auction, but he did it this day 32. This day 1903, the first ever World Series. Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Boston Americans 7-3. You know why they call it the World Series?
I don't.
So it started with a newspaper. And I think the newspaper, let me make sure I'm correct on this.
What's a newspaper these days?
Yeah, I know, right? That's where we're at.
Jeez.
So, because back in the day, you used to just have the American League, the National League, they would just play and then just be done with it, right? They would win the pennant. It'd be it. So it started with, after 2 years of bitter competition and player rating, the National and American Leagues made peace, and as part of the record, they squared off as an interleague exhibition following the 1903 season. But then it was arranged as one of them as a best-of-9 affair of last year's pennant winners became the 1903 World Series. But I just want to make sure. Okay, again, Ban Johnson of the Western League formed the American League. Then they had the National League. There was something about... Hang on. There was something about the newspaper, I thought. Right?
Yeah. Let's see.
Did you find it?
Let me see. Boston Club wins championship.
Like, that's why they call it the World Series. These two teams playing each other, but I swear to God, there was something about the name. The World Series, the name origin. Here you go.
It says good old-fashioned American hyperbole.
That's it. No. The New York World was the newspaper that sponsored the early championship games, which might have inspired the name. That's what I was thinking of.
How about that?
But the first one was this day, 1903. This day, 18...
Right, because it was called the World.
The World, right. I thought it was the World newspaper, right? Yeah. And that's why they call it the World Series. I knew there was something along those lines.
How about that?
This day, 1890, I need to get here. Yosemite National Park open. Bucket list. I mean, Grand Canyon, sure, but I want to go to Yosemite so bad.
Absolutely.
Very happy birthday because that's Mark McGuire, Ryan Pomperion, Dustin Hopkins, Jimmy Carter, Walter Matthau, Brie Larson, and Zach Galifianakis all celebrating birthdays today. All right, ready to go? 4 for you on the movies and TV shows. Here we go. We'll start with the TV show. Debuted this day, 2006. Follows the life of a man who you believe leads a pretty normal life, but he's got a very, very dark side to who he is.
Interesting. My first guess would be like Dexter.
That is correct. 2006, off of the novel Darkly Dreaming Dexter.
Okay.
Dexter, top 3 series from me all time. I loved Dexter.
I got to tap in.
The new series, or they came out with like everything's getting rebooted and revived. So they brought it back for another season. Not all that bad. The original run,
a
though.
Rare W on the reboot, a rare reboot W.
A rare.
Close to a W?
But it was like a 5-4 win. It wasn't like a 10-0 win. It was like a 5-4 win, something like that. It was okay. It wasn't. There were, trust me, issues with it. Dexter New Blood is what it was called. That was fine. But again, there was nothing like that original run. So here's the thing. The first season sets it all up. Okay, the thing about this show was you go by the seasons based on who the killer was that he was tracking down. So the first season was the ice truck. Season 2, it was like him versus Dokes, I'm pretty sure. Season 3, let me just put it this way. The best season was the one with John Lithgow, okay? He plays the Trinity Killer. Oh, man, so good. The rest of the seasons were all right. But like anything, it starts, it gets slower, it gets picked back up there. But Dexter is right, this day, 2006. All right, next up, a television show, this day, 2000. One of the most popular shows to ever be made by MTV, spawned several movie incarnations and multiple series spinned off of this one thing.
Punked?
Good guess. No. Right era.
Right era.
A little
Ashton
before
Kutcher era.
Punk'd. A little before Punk. Punk was inspired by this show.
Interesting. Ridiculousness?
No. Again, way before that.
Interesting. Yeah, doesn't Ridiculousness seem like it would be on for 40 years?
I know. Well, it's off of Robin Big, which I loved
right.
Robin Big, but
Interesting.
this predated them all. This is really
MTV,
kind of launched MTV. This show cannot be made in today's day and age.
TRL?
No. TRL was the 90s. You're getting colder.
Colder.
You were closest with
Punk'd was
Punk.
sorta close.
Okay, what did they do
Cribs,
on
I guess.
Punk'd?
Like MTV Cribs?
No, but go right era, but no. Again, getting colder. A lot of skits, a lot of people doing stupid stuff.
Oh, man. It's right there on the tip of my tongue. Skits and stupid stuff. MTV,
Skits
wow.
and stupid stuff. That's all this show was really not even skits. It was stunts and stupid stuff.
Oh, Jackass?
Jackass is
Yeah,
correct.
there it is.
I'm Johnny Knoxville, and welcome to Jackass.
Yeah.
I have
That's
all
so funny because I only think of those as the movies. For
right,
whatever reason.
and that's the thing. The TV show, I have the entire catalog of the TV show on DVD.
There you go.
So I'm not saying I watched it in a long time, but it's like I wanted it because I figured they'd get rid of it one day. You can never make Jackass now.
No,
no,
never.
and like all the stunts and all the craziness, and again, all those guys are multimillionaires now from just crashing stuff and whatever. So yes, Jackass is correct in 2000. All right, a film this day, 1993. This movie always gets brought up around the Olympics because it was a country doing a particular sport that doesn't really seem to mesh together.
Oh, is this the Jamaican bobsledders?
That is correct.
Oh my God, what's the name of that?
I give it to you. I think you got it
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Cool Runnings
Cool
is
Runnings,
correct.
that's it.
Cool
That's
Runnings is correct.
Yep.
This day, 1993. All right, final one. We're going to go way back for you on this one. I don't know if you're going to be able to get
Wayback
it.
Machine.
It's an American sitcom that debuted this day, 1955. Okay. This is an extremely popular sitcom from the time. It was created and starred a very popular comedian of the time. And it was based on a recurring comedy sketch of this person's variety show. It follows the life of a New York City bus driver and his wife, Alice. Oh, man. There was a very famous, oh, man.
Is this a show where he wakes up and it's all a dream at the very end? Because
maybe.
I'm trying to think of that. I could literally picture him. It's oh my God. I think I'm on this one.
You might, hang on.
If I look up the actor's name, I could. Oh
man. Is that you might be right. Hang on. Most of the show is set in their small, sparsely furnished 2-room apartment.
What is his name? Man.
Each episode was self-contained.
Okay.
I think you might be right. Maybe on sleep, he woke up.
Yeah, I think I'm with it.
Maybe. The famous quote I was talking about, which again tells you kind of the era of where he would like threaten to hit his wife. He'd go, "To the moon, Alice, to the moon."
Yeah. Man, shoot.
You want the actor? Would that help you maybe?
Yeah, what's the actor's name?
Jackie Gleason.
Oh, okay.
No?
I'm not on.
The Honeymooners. The Honeymoon. I remember
never
the
gotten
intro. And like I think that's how he'd always end. Like every episode would just be the quirky where like his wife gets him into something and buy a dog. He's always like, "To the moon, Alice, to the moon." The Honeymooners are correct. Started this day, 1955. I'm gonna give you a pass on that one because I frankly wouldn't have gotten that one either. All right, we got baseball today. Let's get after it. I took a degenerate parlay for today. I just took all 4 games and took over 4 runs or over 3.5 runs. You do all 4, it's like minus 150. So I just did that. The best game of the day, though, is the first one. Detroit, Houston, 2:30 on ABC. You get Tariq Skubal, Framber Valdez. I don't know if I'm going to bet on that one. I really don't care who's going to win. I think it's going to be the Astros, though. I think they take that series down. Then again, just running through 3 other games today. Your 4 o'clock KC Baltimore. You got Reagan's Corbin Burns. Then the Mets in Milwaukee at 5:30. And then the Braves and the Dodgers in the late cap. Just give me a quick run. I'm going to take Houston. KC, actually. Milwaukee and the Padres. I really think the Braves and the Mets are cooked. I could be wrong, but I think that's what I'm going to go for today.
And I mean, they're playing on short rest as well, too. Like,
Plus
they had
traveling.
to play 2 games yesterday.
Yeah.
Because ideally, one of the teams would have swept the doubleheader and then not have to really worry about the second game. But there was a lot of tight. It was very tight yesterday in that doubleheader. But I think I'm actually going Tarek Skubal and the Detroit Tigers.
All right. I like that.
Because big old lefty, he's been playing unbelievable. The Tigers are kind of streaking. Houston has more talent. They're a better team. But Detroit playing really inspired baseball lately. I think I'm taking them in game 1. They may not advance, but I think I'm taking them game 1.
Yep. Like it very much.
Yep. So then next game, what do we got? Orioles.
Royals.
I'm going Orioles. It's in Baltimore. They play so well at home. And that crowd, they love their Orioles.
Yeah.
And I really respect that. So I think this is the year that the Orioles take off. I think they make it to the ALCS and push the ALCS to 6 games. Wouldn't really shock me there either. But then I'm going to take the Brewers for sure. They actually, I think they're one of the most complete teams.
They're very underrated, I think. Yeah. I think they're really underrated.
Really good brand of baseball, like Guardians times 1.5 almost.
Yeah.
But and then what's our last game, our nightcap?
Then we got the Padres. They got to take the Braves on, who flew all the way there last night.
That should be Padres pretty easily. I think I like those picks.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
But this is one of my favorite days. Start baseball at 2:30.
Playoff baseball all day. I'm gonna be on the. All right, should we roll with it? I kind of want. I don't want to do just a parlay on the day.
Yeah.
Should I just bet $5 on each game?
I like it.
All right.
Do you remember when the Guards had the Oscar Gonzalez home run? That game started at 12:37.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
That's tough.
Yeah. I don't think there's supposed to be any weather today either, which is great.
Should be good.
All right. Astros are favored. Orioles favored. Brewers favored. Padres favored. All pretty big on that.
Yep.
So if I went, you like the Tigers?
I like the Tigers. I also could see them first 5 innings money line.
All right. Tigers, Orioles, minus a 1.5. Do you think they win by 2?
I think so, yeah.
All right. Brewers, I think minus a 1.5. And then do we like the Padres just on the money line?
Yeah, are the Padres minus 1.5?
Minus 180. Oh, they are minus 1.5. You like them on that?
Yeah, but
I always like taking a minus run. 70% of all baseball games are multiple run differential.
Yep. I like the Padres for sure, minus a 1.5.
All right. Do you like the Brewers then, just money line?
Yeah, I don't mind it. What's the number?
Plus 155. Minus a 1.5 is plus 155, and the money line's minus 150.
I kind of like the money line better. Though,
all right, take that. Take that. Plus, I get the early payout here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Plus, get the early payout.
We love the early.
Boom.
Payouts.
Done and done. I like it. All right, let's go. I'll put a couple bucks on that. Let's go. All right, appreciate it. But join us there. Back on Wednesday tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Get geared up for the Browns. Good going this weekend. Cavs are out in Florida. Got it all for you. Don't forget tonight, Enter the Jungle, James Rapine and crew. And you have the return. Josh and Maria Cribbs coming up tonight. So download that Big Play app and catch it all there where you need it. For Pat McGuire, I'm Matt Fontana. As always, take it easy.